Imagine coming home, after 20 years away. You walk in and your house is just overrun. Your family's under threat. Everything you own is being wasted. What do you even do? How far do you go to get it all back?
That's a powerful setup, isn't it? Really puts you in that position.
Yeah. So today we're doing a deep dive into, well, it's a huge chapter from one of the oldest stories we have, Book 22 of Homer's Odyssey.
The big one, the climax.
Absolutely. We're unpacking that incredibly fierce battle where Odysseus, the king who's been gone forever, finally gets his revenge on all those arrogant suitors.
The ones who've been camped out in his palace causing trouble.
Exactly. Our sources are right from the text itself, excerpts from Book 22, so we can really see the raw details, from that first arrow right to the final bloody end.
And our mission, I suppose, is to get beyond just what happens. We want to understand the why, the reactions, the deeper meaning behind Odysseus's explosive return.
Okay, let's get into it.
It's a moment that's echoed down the centuries, really. The peak of the whole epic, you could say. All that tension that's been building. It just explodes right here.
It really does. I mean, we've seen Odysseus go through so much, finally get back to Ithaca disguised as a beggar. He even wins that impossible bow contest. But the suitors, they still don't know who he is.
Not a clue.
So what's that moment, that really dramatic point where he finally just rips off the disguise and lets them have it?
Well, it's instant.
Hmm.
And it's shocking. He's just won the bow contest, right?
Yeah.
And he just sheds the rags, leaps onto the main threshold, bow ready, quiver full of arrows spilling at his feet.
Wow.
And he basically says, okay, that game's over. Now I'm aiming for a target no man's hit before. Let's see if Apollo gives me the glory. And then, bam, no hesitation. He sends a bitter arrow straight at Antinous.
Antinous, he was sort of the lead suitor, the most arrogant one.
Definitely the ringleader, the most offensive. And this first shot, it's not just a kill, it's incredibly brutal.
So what makes his death so particularly shocking? I mean, beyond the obvious violence.
It's how mundane the moment is right before it happens. Antinous is literally lifting this beautiful golden cup to take a drink. Homer says he had no thought of death in his heart, just completely unaware.
Should have had a drink.
Exactly. And Odysseus hits him right in the throat. The point goes clean through the soft part of the neck. He just slumps, drops the cup, and there's this thick jet of mortal blood from his nose, kicks the table over, food goes flying. It's the sheer suddenness, the violation of just normal life. It shows how utterly false their sense of safety was.
You can practically hear the chaos erupting. The suitors are yelling, right? They think it must have been an accident, a stray shot, maybe?
Yeah, they're shouting, "Stranger, you shot badly." They're furious, threatening him, saying he'll pay for killing the greatest youth of Ithaca. They think vultures will be eating him soon.
And the text calls them poor fools. That irony is just dripping, isn't it? They have no idea what's actually happening.
None at all. It's pure hubris. Their arrogance completely blinds them. They can't imagine. This isn't some random accident, but the start of this massive prophesied payback.
And then Odysseus lets them know.
Oh, yeah. He gives them this dark look and calls them dogs. Lays it all out. You thought I'd never come back. You wasted my house, forced my maids, tried to steal my wife while I was still alive. You didn't fear the gods. You didn't fear men.
Shilling.
And then the final line. Now upon all of you, the terms of destruction are fastened. That's when the green fear, as Homer calls it, finally hits them. Everyone starts looking for a way out.
So panic sets in,
Yeah.
and it's Eurymachus who speaks up first, trying to, negotiate his way out?
Desperately. He admits Odysseus has a point, but then immediately blames everything, absolutely everything, on Antinous. Says Antinous even wanted to kill Telemachus to become king himself.
So it wasn't us, it was him, basically.
Pretty much. He's dead now. He got what he deserved. So, spare us, your own people. He's trying to make it seem like Antinous was the only real problem.
Is it genuine remorse, do you think, or just pure desperation?
Oh, it's a gamble. Pure desperation. He's trying to save his own skin. And then he makes this huge offer, right, to repay everything they've consumed. Proposes a tax, basically. 20 oxen worth from each suitor, plus piles of bronze and gold, anything to soften Odysseus's heart.
A massive bribe, essentially.
It's huge. Trying to buy their lives back.
But Odysseus, he's not buying it, is he? He gives that famous speech saying even if they gave him everything they owned, all their father's wealth, he still wouldn't stop the killing until he'd paid them back for all their crimes.
Absolutely unbending. He tells them, you can fight or you can try to run, but I don't think any of you are getting out of here alive. Sheer destruction, he calls it.
This feels like it's way beyond just getting his stuff back. What does that refusal, that absolute rejection, tell us about justice or maybe kingship back then?
Well, it suggests some crimes just can't be paid off with money, you know, especially crimes against the household, against the king, against the gods' laws of hospitality. It's about restoring a fundamental order, maybe even a divinely ordained order, not just balancing the books.
So it's not a transaction, it's retribution.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
He's not interested in their gold. He wants justice. And you can imagine, Homer says their knees went weak, their hearts sank, they finally get it. They're doomed.
So negotiation failed spectacularly. Eurymachus out of options except to fight. He tries to rally the others, draw swords, use the tables as shields, push them back, get help from town. He even charges Odysseus himself.
It's that last hopeless surge of adrenaline, isn't it? Pure desperation now. They know they're trapped. Their arrogance is just curdled into sheer terror.
And Odysseus.
Swift. Another arrow, another instant death. Eurymachus gets hit in the chest right near the nipple. Arrow lodges in his liver. He drops his sword, sprawls over the table, food, cup, everything scattering again. Kicking the ground as Homer puts it, the death mist drifted over his eyes.
Wow, graphic. And it's around this point that Telemachus, Odysseus' son, really enters the fray properly.
Yes, he does. He sees another suitor, Amphinomus, charging his father with a sword. Telemachus reacts instantly, gets behind him, and drives a spear right between his shoulders, gleam through the chest.
That's a decisive kill. But then he does something tactically smart, right? He doesn't try to pull the spear out immediately.
Right. He knows it would take too long, leave him vulnerable, so he leaves the spear in the body, runs back, and tells Odysseus he's going to get armor for them and for the two loyal herdsmen, Eumaeus and Philocius.
That feels like a really important moment for Telemachus. It's not just fighting, it's thinking ahead.
It absolutely is. He's not just a boy anymore. He's showing real leadership, tactical awareness. He knows they need to be properly equipped. He's stepping up as the prince, fighting for his kingdom.
While Telemachus is doing that, what's Odysseus doing? He must be running low on arrows by now.
He is. So he leans his bow against the doorpost, grabs a big 4-layered oxhide shield, puts on a helmet, one with a fearsome horsehair crest, and takes up 2 heavy spears. Fully armored now.
And he positions the swineherd, Eumaeus?
Yeah, he tells Eumaeus to guard a side door, a postern gate, to make sure no one slips out that way, covering the exits. Smart move.
Okay, so things seem to be going Odysseus' way, but then there's a twist, a betrayal.
Right. One of the suitors, Agelaus, suggests someone should try and slip out that side door Eumaeus is guarding, raise the alarm in town. And Melanthios, the goatherd who's been awful to Odysseus all along, he volunteers.
And he knows something crucial.
He does. He knows where Odysseus and Telemachus stored their own weapons, in an inner chamber. He says, I can get you arms from there. This is huge, a massive act of treason right in the middle of the fight.
So he slips away and actually comes back with armor for the suitors.
He does. 12 shields, 12 spears, 12 helmets. Suddenly, some of the suitors are armed. Odysseus sees this, and his heart sinks for a moment. He knows it must be treachery, possibly one of the serving women, or Melanthios.
And Telemachus realizes it was his fault.
Yeah, he takes the blame immediately. Says, Father, this must be my mistake. I think I left the storeroom door slightly open. It's an honest mistake in the heat of the moment, but it could be fatal.
So Odysseus tells Eumaeus to check it out, lock the door, and see who's doing it.
Right. And Eumaeus goes, sees Melanthios heading back for more weapons.
Caught red-handed.
Exactly. So Eumaeus and the oxherd Philocius lying in wait. As Melanthios comes back through the door, they grab him.
And they don't just kill him.
Oh, no. They tie his hands and feet behind his back, loop a strong rope around him, and hoist him right up a tall pillar near the roof beams. Just leave him there, trussed up, alive, to suffer what Homer calls harsh torment.
Yeah.
And Eumaeus even taunts him, tells him he'll have a long night keeping watch from his soft bed up there. It's a really grim, immediate punishment for betrayal. A clear message.
Okay, so Melanthios is dealt with for now. The 4 loyal men are holding the main threshold against a growing number of now armed suitors. And then, divine intervention.
Sort of. Athene shows up, but she's disguised as Mentor, an old family friend. Odysseus sees her, recognizes her despite the disguise, and pleads for help. Reminds her of their old friendship. Stand by me now, Mentor.
But she doesn't just wave a magic wand, right?
No, not at all, which is fascinating. First, the suitors, still incredibly arrogant, actually threaten Mentor. Agelaus shouts warnings. If you help Odysseus, we'll kill you right after them and seize your property, kill your family.
Threatening a goddess, even unknowingly. Not smart.
Definitely not. Athene is furious. But instead of wiping them out, She turns to Odysseus and kind of scolds him, questions where his old fighting spirit from Troy has gone. Where's that strength and valor now, she asks.
He's testing him.
It seems like it. She says she wants to test their strength and courage Odysseus's and Telemachus's. She doesn't grant immediate victory. Then she changes into a swallow and flies up to perch on a roof beam, just watching.
That is strange. Why hold back? Why not just end it?
It's a great question. Maybe it's to ensure their victory is earned, to make them prove their worthiness to reclaim the kingdom through their own efforts, even with our underlying support. It certainly raises the stakes for them.
So the suitors see Mentor fly off. They think he's abandoned Odysseus. Agilus rallies the best 6 fighters left. Now is our chance, he says. Let's all throw our spears at Odysseus at once.
Their last big coordinated effort. But Athene subtly deflects all their throws. Spears hit pillars, doorposts, walls. Nowhere near Odysseus. It shows her power, but indirectly.
Protecting them without fighting for them yet.
Exactly. Then Odysseus, Telemachus, Eumaeus, and Philolaus all throw their spears together. And they don't miss. 4 more prominent suitors go down.
The tide is definitely turning.
Yes. The suitors try another volley of spears. This time, a couple get close. One grazes Telemachus' wrist, another slightly wounds Eumaeus' shoulder. Minor hits, but it shows the danger is still real.
And then Athene decides it's time.
Now she acts decisively. From the roof beam, she raises her aegis.
The aegis, that's that terrifying shield linked with Zeus and Athene, right? Covered in snakes, maybe the Gorgon's head. Pure divine terror.
That's the one. And its effect is immediate and devastating. Homer says it blights humanity and utterly bewilders the suitors' minds. They just lose it completely.
How does the text describe it?
It's an amazing simile. They scatter through the hall like a herd of cattle driven wild by the darting horsefly in springtime. Just pure panic, stampeding blindly.
Wow. And Odysseus and his men.
They become predators. Another vivid simile compares them to hook-clawed, beak-bent vultures swooping down from the mountains to attack flocks of smaller birds who can't escape. It emphasizes the total, inescapable nature of the slaughter. The floor, Homer says, was smoking with blood, and you could hear horrible cries rose up as their heads were broken. It's a rout, utter carnage.
So the main battle's over, the suitors are routed, mostly dead or dying. But the focus shifts now, doesn't it, to a different kind of reckoning. Justice and maybe mercy.
Yes, and it's not simple. First there's Leodes, the suitor's sacrificial priest or diviner. He crawls to Odysseus, grabs his knees, begs for his life.
What's his argument?
He claims he was innocent, he never did anything wrong to the women, and even tried to stop the others from their wickedness. He says he was just their priest, forced to serve them.
Seems plausible, maybe?
Odysseus doesn't buy it. He accuses Leodes, saying, "If you were really their diviner, you must have prayed often in my palace that I wouldn't come home, that my wife would marry you and bear your children."
Ah, so Odysseus sees his very role, his inner wishes, as complicity.
Exactly. For Odysseus, that kind of betrayal, hoping for his death and wanting his wife, is unforgivable, especially from someone connected to the gods. He picks up a sword lying nearby one Agelaus dropped and just beheads Leodes while he's still pleading. No mercy there.
Stark. But then there are exceptions, right? 2 people are spared.
Yes. Phemios the singer, the bard, and Medon the herald. They had hidden during the fight. Phemios comes out, puts down his lyre, and begs Odysseus, saying he was forced to sing for the suitors he didn't want to be there.
And Medon.
Medon was hiding under an oxhide. He crawls out, grabs Telemachus' knees, pleading for his life. And crucially, Telemachus speaks up for both of them.
What does Telemachus say?
He tells his father, "Wait, don't kill this man. He's innocent. And we should spare Medon the herald, too. He always looked after me here when I was a child."
So personal loyalty and perhaps the protected status of certain roles singer herald come into play.
It seems so. And Odysseus actually smiles slightly. He agrees, telling Phemios and Medon to go outside and wait in the courtyard until the slaughter and cleaning are finished. He even tells them to tell others that good dealing is better by far than evil dealing.
That's a fascinating moment of, well, calculated mercy, maybe, amidst all the brutality. What does that tell us?
It shows Odysseus isn't just a killing machine. There's a logic, however harsh, to his justice. He distinguishes between active, malicious participants or traitors like Leodes and those whose roles were perhaps less directly harmful or who had mitigating circumstances, like past kindness to Telemachus. It adds a layer of complexity to him.
After sparing them, Odysseus looks around at the aftermath.
Yeah, he surveys the hall filled with the dead suitors. Homer compares them to fish hauled out of the sea in a net, lying piled on the sand, gasping for water. A really stark image of the scale of the killing.
And then Euryclea, the old loyal nurse, she comes in.
She does. She sees Odysseus splattered with blood and gore standing on the corpses. She's about to cry out loud in triumph.
Unnatural reaction, maybe?
Perhaps. But Odysseus stops her immediately. He tells her, "Keep your joy in your heart, old woman. Stop. It is not piety to glory so over slain men."
Why does he correct her? What's the point he's making?
He says they were destroyed by the doom of the gods and their own hard actions because they respected no one, good or bad. He's framing it not as his personal victory to gloat over, but as a necessary, divinely sanctioned judgment. It's about restoring order, not celebrating death.
So maintaining a kind of solemnity even after this victory.
Exactly. Then he tells Euryclea to go gather all the serving women in the palace. He wants her to identify which ones were disloyal, the shameful ones, and which ones were innocent.
How many were disloyal?
Euryclea says out of the 50 serving women, 12 were shameless. They didn't respect her authority or Penelope's, and crucially, they took to immorality, meaning they slept with the suitors.
And this leads to another really difficult part of the story. The punishment of these women.
It's extremely grim. Odysseus first orders Telemachos, Eumaios, and Philoios to make these 12 women carry out all the dead bodies of the suitors and clean the entire hall, wash the tables, scrape the chairs, sponge everything down. Hard, demeaning labor.
A punishment in itself.
Yes. But then Odysseus says, take them outside and hew them with the thin edge of the sword until they die and forget Aphrodite, forget the pleasures they shared with the suitors.
A quick death, at least by the sword, but Telemachus has other ideas.
He does. Telemachus intervenes and says essentially that a clean death by the sword is too good for them. He argues they showered abuse on his mother Penelope and on him, and they slept with the suitors. He wants something worse.
And what does he devise?
He decides on what Homer calls a most pitiful death. He takes a long cable from a ship, loops it high up between two pillars in the courtyard, makes nooses along its length, and hangs all 12 women together in a line.
Like birds caught in a snare.
Exactly the simile Homer uses, like thrushes or pigeons caught in a net. It says their feet struggled for a little while, but not for long. It's deliberately degrading, meant to emphasize their shame. A really horrific scene.
It forces you to confront just how different, how brutal their concept of justice could be, especially for disloyalty within the household. What message was that sending?
An absolutely clear message about the consequences of betraying the household, defiling its honor, and siding with its enemies. Their sexual transgressions, combined with their disrespect for Penelope, made their crime particularly heinous in that context. Telemachus' choice of death emphasizes total disgrace.
And just when you think the horror's over, there's still Melanthios, the goat herd hoisted up earlier.
Right. They haven't forgotten him. They put him down from the pillar, take him outside.
And his end is even worse, isn't it?
Arguably the most gruesome in the entire book. They take a knife, cut off his nose and ears, pull off his genitals, and feed them raw to the dogs, and then lop off his hands and feet.
The extreme mutilation. Why so uniquely brutal for him compared to even the suitors?
His betrayal was seen as particularly vile, perhaps. He wasn't just enjoying the suitors' company. He actively aided them against Odysseus during the fight by providing weapons. This dismemberment seems almost symbolic. The hands that carried the weapons, the feet that ran the errand, the nose and ears maybe representing senses used for treachery. It's public, agonizing, dehumanizing, an unforgettable warning against treason from within.
So finally, after all this, bloodshed, retribution, horror, what happens?
Odysseus and his 3 loyal companions wash the blood and grime off themselves. Then Odysseus calls for Euryclea to bring sulfur, brimstone, and fire.
For purification.
Exactly. He insists on purifying the main hall, the courtyard, the whole house, before he even changes out of his beggar's rags. He personally carries the burning sulfur through the space, fumigating it.
What's the significance of that ritual act? It seems really important to him.
It's crucial. It's not just about physical cleaning. It's a ritual cleansing, purging the house of the spiritual pollution, the miasma, left by the suitors' disrespectful actions and all the death. It's about restoring the house to a sacred state, making it fit for him, the rightful king, to inhabit again. Only after this purification is the restoration truly complete on a deeper level.
After the purification.
Euryclea goes and gathers the loyal serving women, the ones who hadn't betrayed the household. They come running with torches, thrilled to see Odysseus alive. They crowd around him, weeping, kissing his head and shoulders, clinging to him. It's this moment of intense emotional reunion after all the violence. Homer says Odysseus felt a sweet longing to weep too, because he recognized every single one of them.
Wow. Quite an ending to the ordeal. So we've really witnessed this Astonishing sequence. Brutal, yes, but also incredibly personal. An act of justice, or maybe vengeance, carried out with absolute clarity of purpose.
Yeah, the lines are drawn so clearly, aren't they? Loyalty and disloyalty, and the consequences are applied with this precise, often horrifying finality. It really is more than just a battle. It's presented as this profound act of cleansing and restoring order.
If we step back and look at the bigger picture, what does this chapter really hammer home about the values of that ancient Greek world?
Well, things like loyalty, honor, hospitality, they were just nice ideas. They were foundational. And violating them, especially against a king, invited terrible consequences, often seen as sanctioned by the gods themselves. Justice, both divine and human, could be absolutely merciless when those core values were broken. Restoring order was paramount, even if it required extreme violence.
It definitely leaves you thinking. It raises that big question, doesn't it? When you're reclaiming what's been lost, how far can justice go before maybe it becomes something else?
Yeah.
And what does it really take to, clean house after something so catastrophic happens?